All right. Are you in therapy? Are you in therapy, Chrissy? This isn't a
Oh, me?
this is a
Yeah.
real
Oh,
question. This
yeah.
this isn't like a I think you need to be. I just started therapy.
I need more.
No. I started therapy during COVID, so I do it through Zoom, and now I do all these
Oh,
podcasts
wow.
through Zoom. So I don't think I want to go back to either live. I like therapy in my own chair. I like podcasting in my own chair. I don't want to be. I thought I wanted to be in studios. I thought I wanted to be in a psychiatric office, sitting on a couch, all that. I like it better when I'm just in my own house.
It's like I can tell because I've been doing therapy for years, and then also through the quarantine stuff through just FaceTime. And my therapist does miss a little something with just doing it over FaceTime. Like she misses picking up on like the energy I have. It's more obvious that she feels that I'm anxious walking in the room when it's face to face. I mean,
See, I
of course
never
she can
did it
pick
the
up
other
on
way,
stuff.
so I don't know that. I think it'll
Yeah.
be weird for me now to see them as a person.
And then there's also like no work life separation for the therapists. So they feel a little bit like, my therapist felt like, oh God, I really miss going into the office because I miss having like my own space. It's weird to have a therapy session and then the therapist is like, can you hold on a second? I have to go to the bathroom, because it kind of takes away a little bit of,
Yeah.
I guess, the feeling of professionalism,
Yeah,
but
you don't want
it's
to know
still
they
better
poop.
than
We know
losing
they
the
poop,
business.
but you don't want to know they poop. Like, I don't want that. I don't want to know that at all. And I don't
Yeah,
want
they
to know
just
what I
poop
said made
advice.
them poop. Like, whatever I
What did
said.
you what did you start going to therapy for?
Oh, I mean, I'm gonna one day talk about it. I'm like that deep in where I'm now in the middle of a PTSD from like a lot of trauma things that happened, mostly from a breakup, but more so not the relationship, what happened from it. And one day it'll be my hour special that gets me on Lifetime, thank goodness. But for now, it's gonna be quiet. But yeah, it's been so crazy that I don't even remember there's COVID. Like people are like, oh, how's your quarantine? Like, oh yeah, there's a quarantine. Like I've had so much stuff going on that I've dove into podcasting to get away from everything else. So
That's good. That's good.
yes, I
Yeah.
guess it's sad, but good. A good sad.
What is sad? Going to therapy, like
That I have to
realizing, like
dive in.
unearthing the stuff.
No, that I have to dive into this. That I need to know that someone on Twitter is appreciating what I do, but will still call me names. Like I need that. Like I need them to say I'm a horrible person, but still
Oh,
listen
you
to my
like being
show.
heckled?
I
You
like
like
the
being
love
trolled?
troll. That one that thinks they can bust our balls because we bust each other's balls. I like that person. They don't understand they're not part of it and there's a respect, so they're just being an asshole, but it's from love. I don't like that one that's just being an asshole. Like when
Yeah.
Chad Zumach was being a dick to you, I was, what the fuck is it? That's not fun. That's just being a dick. There was another guy, Mike, some asshole guy, Scove, whatever his name was. I saw
Soak.
Soki. Yeah, whatever
Yeah.
his name was. And he's like, we run in the same circle. I'm like, I'm going to call the cops on this dick. What's the same circles?
It's
That's
like, no, we
creepy.
don't. He
No.
he wishes desperately that he ran in the same circles, because it's like, if we ran in the same circles, I would have met you by now.
Right.
It's like you desperately want to align yourself with comedians and people who are funny and like making something of their lives, or he's like incredibly jealous and he thinks just because he listens to a podcast that I've heard of does not mean we're in the same circles. Just because he knows people that I know, it's like, dude, you're a fucking civilian, man.
It's
Like,
it's
get
a
a grip.
testament to your
So
show and your personality, I guess, though, because like people think, oh, if I speak to her, then I'm part of the world. It's like, well, no. It's nice that you're a fan, but like they get so into the show, they think like, well, if I retweet it or I say something and she happens to repeat it on
yeah.
the air, now I'm in that world. Like they're whack pack.
It gets really unhealthy. It gets really unhealthy. There was another Twitter troll / fan, this guy like Teamster Tim. He was at Dangerfields the only night that I was at Dangerfields, which was when I was auditioning. It might have been January, February. I auditioned. I gave my number to the booker. And it was like, all right, we'll be in touch. And I guess the booker had put my number like up against the cash register. And this guy, Teamster Tim or whatever, he was there. He took a photo of my number because he saw my name. Yes, he saw my name.
So creepy.
And then he saw my phone number. He took a photo of it. And then I guess afterwards, because he was like, ooh, now I have her phone number. He gave it to this soap guy. And then just like out of nowhere, this Teamster Tim guy, I'm telling this out of sequence, right? Okay, so he took the number months ago. I didn't hear from him text-wise or call-wise for months and months, right? Then he shows up in the audience at Wet Spot, fucking what appeared to be hammered out of his mind. He's heckling my guests. I had like a serious author on the panel. He's like heckling her. He's like basically shouting like really shitty like anti-woman stuff, like, oh, how could you be an author, you should just be home baking, like dumb shit, not even funny heckling. And then he proceeds to like completely fall asleep. So we're like, oh god, is he hammered? And then the next time I saw him, which was at one of the secret backyard shows in Westchester, he was there and he came up to me and apologized for the way he acted, you know, in the studio audience that one time. He's like, oh, you know, he's like, I wasn't drunk, I was on pills, whatever. I'm like, okay,
That's
buddy,
better.
all right, fine. And then he's like, I'm really, really sorry, I'm really embarrassed. I'm like, okay, fine, cool. And then he went on this like tirade on Twitter and just basically made like mistake after mistake. And then some people were like, oh, you gotta cut him slack, he was addicted to heroin, you know. And then he texted me after the Twitter tirade. It was like him and Soap were on this like Twitter tirade against me, like kind of out of nowhere. And then Tim texted me like, oh, I got your number. You know, he showed me a picture of the picture that he took, the one at Dangerfields, and I know exactly when it was from because I've only been there once in the last like 6 years, and it was to audition. And he's like, I never texted you till now. You know, like out of nowhere, he said, oh, I didn't give Mike Soak your number. But I'm like, why would you bring that up if you weren't thinking about it and if you didn't do it? You know what I mean? So like, I was like obviously able to see through that. I was like, oh, of course you gave it to him. You guys are people that like to feel like close to, I don't know, people in comedy, I guess. And he kept fucking up, and he would say, oh, it's because I was addicted to heroin. It's like, okay, you get that once. You get, okay, a one-time fuck up of, oh, I'm really sorry. You can't just keep making mistakes and being shitty and keep using, you have to grow the fuck up. You're in your 50s, man. You got to get a grip. Like, you can't be stalking comedians and taking their personal phone number and fucking texting them, you know? It just was really crazy. I was like, wow,
I didn't even know that.
I'm like, you need to get some help.
I didn't know that being on heroin was a free pass. I didn't know. Usually, if you're on heroin,
no, he was an addict.
No, I know, but I don't. No, I mean, that's just a weird thing to go to. Well, it's not my fault. Heroin. It's like, no, you did heroin. Like that, you were a heroin addict. Yeah, it proves that you're crazy, but it doesn't. I'm not gonna let it go. You took a picture. That's the creepy. I've been
that's
drunk
the fucking creepiest thing
took a picture
of
of someone's
all time.
phone number and then gave it to weirdos and held on.
And then he lied.
Yeah.
He lied about how he got it. He was telling people that he found it in the trash. I'm like, no, this guy. It's like, why would you lie about that stuff?
You know what? As a comic, that's more hurtful. Part of you is like, they didn't throw it in the trash, did they? I hope they didn't throw it in the trash. Like that would be the worst.
No, because the picture he showed me,
right.
The picture Tim sent me, was it up by the cash register. So it was not in the trash. It was very much in full view on the cash register.
Because that would have sucked if you found out, no, they threw it out the second I left. Like, no, they threw my number in the trash. How dare they?
Whatever.
Right. No,
but it was like obvious from how he was describing that that's not what happened. Because he would have sent a picture of like the paper in the trash. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's what
you're not going to take it out and then put it back by the cash register.
What I love about your guys' show and then being a compound and all that is that the fans can interact. But what's scary is that the fans can just come in and be nuts. Like there's some crazy ass people. They're usually respectful, but the fact that that guy could be there and then you find out he has that ability, what else could he do? There's no. It's awesome that they could be there, but it's also like there's no security or real way to know who's who.
And that it was a little scary because there's not just I've been around drunk people. I've been doing stand-up for 10 years, improv 5 years before that. So it's like I've been around comedy and comedy people and audiences for like a very long time. This wasn't just drunk or on drugs. Like he was getting aggressive and shitty. He had like a scary tone that all of us could feel and we're getting like pretty concerned about. And it's like it's just, I have no patience for somebody who continually fucks up and then you get one pass, right? For being an addict. Sure, fine. We all fuck up. But it's like, that can't be, you have to, at some point, take responsibility for your life, you know? Yeah. I was like, yeah, could you just not text me anymore? That would be great. You know, after I was like, you should get help. He's like, I don't need help. I'm like, that's the first sign of someone who needs help.
Yeah. Just the aggressive answer of no. And by the way, if you're going to drop heroin, don't make me your new addiction. You know, just don't turn it into now stalking me. That'd be great.
It's true. I mean, it is nice because most of the fans are really great, respectful people who love comedy, who come to the live shows. And then there's a very small percentage who just think that that access and then the fact that I'll write people back all the time and I like Twitter interaction and I like talking to people, I think that means that you know me and that means you're entitled to XYZ or there's a couple people, it might have been Tim and the Soap guy, a few people who are like clearly angry that I started my own show. They liked me when I was just like a bit part on In Hot Water doing like silly characters, and like I think are upset to learn that there's more to me than just that. I'm not just a person who does accents. It's like I can interview people, I can talk about,
or the way they sound. It's like, we liked it when you were underneath, but the men were in charge. We don't like a lot of them are weird with that. That's a weird thing I see you getting. So that like, it's a comedy show. What does it matter who's host? It's like your show. I love. I never, when I first watched it, I was like, this is not going to be for me, because as you've now learned from me on your show, I'm not a guy into sex, and it's
you don't like feet.
I don't like feet at all. But even like that, sex isn't my humor. Like, I never really joke about it. It's just not what I think of it when it's funny. But watching your show, it's more entertaining, and I actually start learning from it. And watching it more, I'm like, I really enjoyed it. And being on, it takes me out of my comfort zone so much that I'm like, I love it. Like the other day, being on there, and like, it sounds stupid, but like, I'm a 45-year-old white guy, so like, I've only thought of porn stars as not people. You humanize them, and I'm like, oh, they're just these cool people. Like when I was on with Randy James.
Oh yeah, Randy, I love her.
And to realize that her and I have like the same kind of like business sense as you do in comedy. It's like, oh, it's all the same world.
It is.
And then like, you could just talk about anything. We're very similar. I didn't understand the marriage of your show, of the two things, until I was on it, and I'm like, oh, this fucking makes sense.
Yeah, because before Wet Spot, was not even a person who regularly watched porn. I was like definitely maybe even more anti-porn, and I definitely judged them at one point. But then I would see like old Howard Stern bits, and the way that he would do these remote segments and like have people in studio doing fun stuff. And I was like, oh, I see how that's attractive for like the predominantly male audience of compound media. And I also see that it's fun. And I was like, I like girls. And I was like, let's do this. And the more porn stars I would meet, the more I would realize like, wow, this is so some, which is the adult video network, like the porn award,
right.
One of the porn award ceremonies in January at the Hard Rock, now the Virgin Hotel. I did like 18 interviews. I like met so many. I became like closer friends with some, and I was just like, oh wow, it really is. We really are kind of on the same side of things, because we both face so much censorship and bullshit, and it's like they have the added challenge of like there's more shame on porn stars, and the banks fuck with them. Certain banks won't let them open up checking accounts or savings accounts because they know that they make their money from porn, and that's just an added thing that comics don't even have to worry about.
But drug addicts have bank accounts.
Yes, all the worst
drug
people.
Dealers, everybody, all have that. Epstein had a bunch.
Bankers have bank accounts,
That's terrible people. And the other thing, not only is it the thing where with the shame and stuff, it's also the part where everyone thinks they can do it. Comedy and porn, people think they can just do it. And there's a talent to being a porn star. You have to entertain. Now I know there's homemade and amateur, but even that is shot well. Even that needs to have someone who keeps your interest. You have to be good at what you're doing, or you get put in the titled worst sex ever, which you don't want as a search.
Right. You're also fighting the added pressure of the clock. Like there's more like I've got 10 to 15 good years of like really, and that might not even be true anymore either, because you can get into grandma porn and more mature shit. So, but I would say overall.
But has anybody moved? I usually, I think it's being this is the first time ever that porn stars actually are known and people don't mind saying they know them. Like, not that the whole world does it, but now you can say, oh, that's a porn. You used to go, oh my God, I can't say I know.
It's social media, because it's like you can watch porn on Twitter, no problem. Right, like I do many times a day because I follow all these girls.
But I couldn't imagine watching a girl grow up like a TV show, like, like a kid star becomes like, adult actress. Like,
you mean like Maitland Ward? She was on Boy Meets World and then she went into porn.
But she did TV then porn. She didn't do like, I'm a stepdaughter and then become the stepmother.
Oh
Like that,
gosh.
I
There's
wonder how that
probably
works in porn. It's probably starting
yeah.
to move up, but that'd be weird to watch. I remember her when she played a teen. Now she's a
Right.
gilf. It's like that's got to
Like
be
if Mary
weird.
Kate and Ashley Olsen went into porn, you'd be like, whoa. But yet there'd be so many guys that would love that. They would be like, they would be the same guys that were counting down for them to turn 18 would be the first ones to tune into their porn.
There's another one I don't get. The twins. I don't get why people want their two sisters to have sex together.
It's for the same reason why guys like threesomes, and it's just
don't.
more mouths on you, more chances of getting your dick sucked, more chances of putting your penis in a vagina.
If you're with one woman and you need more chances, you shouldn't be with that one woman.
Okay, well, you're in the minority. Most guys would rather more than less. They're and you're visual.
I think they want to say. Yeah. I think they want to say out loud they want that. Most of them can't handle the pressure of that. Most of them know they're not going to live up to what it is, and most of them know the two girls would rather be with each other.
I think a lot of guys, when they think of how hot threesomes are, that it never occurs to them that they have to satisfy two women. Yeah. It's like they don't. It's all just like, oh, this is all kind of for me. It's the fantasy. That's what guys like. It's like, ooh, I'm getting to see more because I'm visual. More naked chicks, the better. And they get to do stuff to me at the same time. This is great. They never think, oh, God, like, what if this one gets really anxious? Or what if this one needs a vibrator come? What if this one, has a lot of emotional triggers? They're just not. I mean, again,
and then you
no
got
one's
to
thinking
get
about
up
that.
And get two people snacks afterwards. I don't want to do
right.
that. I want to get one person snacks.
Twice the eggs in the morning.
Yeah, that's a lot of eggs.
It's a lot of eggs.
And then you try to do it again, and everyone smells like eggs. It's like, oh. And you can't have the threesome morning sex. You could have the morning sex with one person, even the one night stand. But the next day, I don't think all three are on the same page.
Yeah, the next day, in the small amount of experience I've had with threesomes, the next day is about eating and getting the fuck out of there. Hopefully, you know what I mean, before 1 p.m.
I don't think there's too many sleepovers. I think most of the threesomes, someone takes off.
I mean, I only have a very limited. I've done 3, 4, and like 2, 3 of them, was a sleepover into the next day. And one of them I took off like right after because there was 2 dudes and they know what they were doing and they were like 25, 26. So I was like, ugh, it was just like more terribleness.
I've been offered 2 and did 1. The other one I actually said no thanks.
Good for you.
I was just like, I'll go on the couch. You guys have fun. No thanks.
Yeah.
Only with 2 girls. Not that it's I just don't want to be with another guy. It's just that wouldn't do it for me. And I'm not a sharer.
Oh, you're not a sharer? Okay.
But also not with another woman either. I don't want to share. When I'm with one person, I want to be with that one person. I don't want to.
That's cute. I feel like you're in the minority.
I keep saying that, but like I'm a straight white male, and finally I'm a minority. Thank God. Thank God.
Time has come.
I'm gonna go knock down a statue right now. That's how much a minority I am. I'm just gonna kick one right the fuck down.
Yeah.
How did Figs come on the show?
Well, I was going on In Hot Water quite a lot, as was he. I had known him from the comedy scene like even years before Compound Media. We'd end up being on the same shows and stuff. I think we've been doing stand-up about the same amount of years. And I would end up just doing like a lot of bits, sometimes with Figs, or I would have an idea for a sketch. And if it required 2 people, I would do it with him. And I was just like running into him a lot. So then when I was like pitching my show, I was like, oh, I should just create a role for him. That would be nice. Like, he's a funny guy. So.
But did you know his knowledge of porn and his humor with sex? Because he fits it really well.
Yeah, he knows a lot about porn, which I did not realize until we were doing it. Yeah.
Because I thought maybe you knew that he had like, not that like the love for porn, but like the humor that goes well with porn and sex talk, and that he does share things in his life, but also makes it so you're like, that can't be real. And he has this goofiness that helps, because if he was like just like asshole, Kevin Brennan, that type, you couldn't watch it, like, oh, too gruff, too whatever.
You need someone who's fun and who's down and who is like self-deprecating, and like Figs is a perfect combination of like, he can pick up on lulls when there's a conversation, which is good, which means I don't have to, like, if I have a guest who's just kind of like a yes or no answering kind of person, and then it's like, you know what I mean? A good podcast has a rhythm and a flow to it, and sometimes the not so good ones, the energy drops and you got to pick it up again, and you it's just about just like keeping it's like that ring toss game in the water. You know, you got to like keep shooting up I don't know.
And then your
The
thumbs
rings.
cramp, and then you
Yeah.
just throw it, and you're pissed. Yeah.
So I know that like, oh, and Figs is there. I don't have to be 100% committed to like bringing the conversation up if it lulls. Like, I know that he's listening. He can come up with a good question for the porn star girls or like for whoever's on. And he does share about his personal life, and he doesn't, you know, he makes jokes about himself, which is great. Like he's always, you know, referring to his dick as like a tuna can or like a Coke can. And he's like, yeah, he's not afraid to make himself look silly. And I think that puts the guests at ease.
Not only the guests at ease, I mean, you're out of all the shows on Compound, you're one I would assume has the most female audience. Not that they all have that. I would think it's a lot of men too, but he is not a guy that comes off like chauvinistic or like he's respectful to the girls the porn girls are on. And,
oh yeah.
And he also, like you said, a lot of times the porn stars have nothing to say. Not that they don't have things to say, but they don't know how to get it out on a podcast. They're not used to just talking. So he's good at getting them feeling good and doing that, and he fits that role well, but also pulls back. Like when I'm on, I like having a back and forth with him, and he'll do little jokes that I've noticed. Like he always tries to ask who someone's boyfriend is and always names black porn star. I don't even know if he says that.
It's funny.
It's always Mr. Marcus or Livingston.
It's like, yeah, it's his classic thing. Yeah.
Right. If you just notice it, you're like, he's always just naming that. But he knows way more men porn stars than you should.
I know. I love when that information slips out and you're just like, oh. But I think he just does that. Like he has that same impulse that I do. Like when I share, I think it makes the guests feel more at ease, and then they feel like they can share. Because if it's just like, if they're not used to podcasting or interviews, it might feel like this, you know, it might feel like, oh, this host is just trying to pull stuff out of me and I'm not used to talking about myself in that way. That way, the more like he and I share, and that's like a technique I take into my like one-on-one podcast too. Like if I share about me, I feel like it helps the other person like relax a little bit. But he is definitely good. He can handle the awkward moments. He can make fun of himself. He can ask questions. You know, it's not like, especially since the lockdown, we haven't been able to do the fun remote segments and the in-studio games and stuff like that. And like the, you know, stupid human tricks. And we had all these plans for like for spring, doing these remote segments outside and man on the street. And hopefully we can get to that at some point. So we have kind of just been limited to like the interview style podcast.
But I think for the girls, I think they seem a little more comfortable because they get to be at home. They get to be going in the studio has got to be weird for them in that setting. Do you ever have comics on as a guest with porn stars and the comic does that stupid thing where they think they need to shit on the porn star? Does that ever happen, or have you put the right people?
I try to book people who will be like respectful.
Because that's a natural. If you're not being funny, like, oh, let me call her a stupid whore. Say her parents didn't love her.
Nothing that stands out, honestly, because I feel like if the host respects the porn stars, then the guests will like follow that. Like if I were to like start, I mean, we will make jokes about sex and porn or whatever, but it's never. It's, you know, you really got to gauge who has a sense of humor in that way. Like Trinity St. Clair, who's a regular, you can say anything to her and she'll laugh.
And she was great. Yeah.
Yeah. She can you can joke about like 5 black dicks going to her asshole and she'll laugh. But that like not every porn star, you know, they all have different senses of humor.
That's not a laughing matter. It's very serious.
Yeah. Like, hey, that's work, you know.
Yes.
So it really depends.
I don't talk about your job when you're hanging out. Don't talk about my 5 black dicks.
Yeah, and the goal is not to like make anybody super uncomfortable, you know, which is why when that shit with Marilyn Monroe happened, I was really like caught off guard because she had a really great time when we did like the live show at the stand, and then the next day like Twitter fucking shitstorm at me about how she had a terrible time and didn't feel respected. And it's like, what? You were like visibly enjoying yourself, drinking, laughing, throwing shots back, everybody's making fun of each other, and then she was like, oh, Chrissy doesn't deserve to go to AVN. And I was like, what the fuck? And I didn't know how high up she was, and I didn't know whose ear she was in. And then finally I get to AVN and I'm like, do you asking everybody, have you heard of Marilyn Monroe? They're like, who? And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'm good. Because I realized was like open mic level of porn star.
Which is, I was going to say, like, it's funny when you find out that she's just some comic who does like open mics and you're like, oh, okay, you don't matter. But I was worried about impressing you. I think that comes from being on a thing where everyone else was funny. They took each other. The night she was in the moment, she sat and thought back. She goes, I might have been embarrassed. I better just try to tear them all apart. Like, because they don't.
That's
It's
never
a
going to make
different
you
world.
look good. Yeah.
Because as a comic, if you're bombing on a show like that, it's easy to go, all right, what's the elephant in the room? All right, daddy issues over here. But I think that's a cheap laugh. There's no, and as comics, we all also have the same issue. Like I said, we're so the same. To take a shot at them, you're taking a shot at yourself. We're each of us could almost do the other job if things fell the right way. And now with OnlyFans, a lot of them are doing both jobs.
Yeah. I always think if I got really like hard up for rent, like I might dip a toe in, but
Ugh.
Toe. It would be hard. I think it would be hard to like.
Why do you gotta say toe? We're having a good time.
I would dip a toe in. No, I would be.
Put your elbow in, girl.
It would be hard. Yeah, I think it's.
Could you do that?
I could. I think yeah, for sure I could. But I would have had to have made that choice before really taking comedy seriously. I would have had to made that choice like 5 years ago.
You can have sex for not fun?
Yes. What do you think most women do? For years, we have sex with people we don't like. It's called hookup culture.
Okay, but you're still doing it you're still doing it to have sex. Now you're just doing it for a job.
You're doing it because you're attracted to the person.
Or even if you don't like the person, you just want dick.
You're hoping for the best, but oftentimes it's just like that's how it is when you meet a random person. They're not all that invested in your orgasm.
Yeah, all of a sudden, it's a job where you're like, I don't even care. They don't care, and I don't even want to be here. So many times I would just be like, what's the quickest I can get this guy off so I can leave, Right, but then you have to be on the clock for 2 hours because it's bukkake day. Like, that's what I'm saying. You can't get out of there. There's a line of dudes, and they're all got bellies that you didn't realize they had.
Oh, right, but at least you're getting paid. At least like, okay, I'm getting like a fat check after all this. Whereas like hookup culture, you get nothing.
Do the line of dudes get paid? Like when they have those things where like there's like 8 dudes and they're in line? Like, you don't pay those dudes, right? They're just
you pay anybody, any adult star who's on set, who's performing gets paid.
Imagine being 7th in line, just beating off, waiting. That's a weird credit. I'm 7th in line, waiting to fuck this girl.
Yeah, I don't think they call it like dick number 7. I think you're just like Tyrone or whatever. You have like a name.
Tyrone number 7.
But I've never watched porn credits, so yeah, Tyrone number 7.
Do they have? Some of them do at the beginning. They're like they do the credit, but I don't think for the most part have credits at the end.
Yeah, I guess I've never watched till the end.
I watched till the end.
You want to see the deleted scenes? You want to see the bloopers?
I wait till Thor comes out with the hammer and hands it.
Wouldn't that be great if at the end of every porn they show the deleted scenes, like the shit that went wrong?
Well, what do you mean by wrong? She dies. Like, no,
I don't know.
Right.
Like the guy blows a load on nobody, just like
Or in the threesome where they're like doing the spit roast thing, the guy he misses the girl and hits the other guy in the face. And they all laugh about it.
Yeah, or like you're trying to like pass cum from one person to the other, and then they just drop it all, and you're like, shit.
Snowball, right? That's a snowball.
Right? Is it a snowball?
From Clerks, I know from the movie Clerks, they talked about snowballing, where they're putting them out,
something like that.
Yeah, I don't see right there. Once it gets to that stuff, I'm out. Like I don't get why we gotta. What do you swap it? Just have sex. Why are we swapping cum?
That for me is hard to watch. Like it's hard to watch like passing cum between two people. I have a hard time like finding that hot.
That's not hot.
Yeah.
If you need that, you don't like sex.
Well, you're doing that because it's a performance. It's for the guy. I don't. Sure, there's probably girls who like that, but
guy is weird. Why?
That's a performance. Like it's all a performance.
The girl's naked. She's working hard. She's doing everything you want. And you're like, that's not enough. Get on your knees like a circus seal and pass it to another human. Like, why do we need?
Well, it's like a fetish. It's like anything else. Like if you really like feet stuff, or you like pain, or you like. I saw this really hot thing today. It was actually by this girl that I've interviewed, Kit Mercer, and I think it was for a fetish site. It was like not, her face wasn't even in it. She was wearing this like see-through black thing, and the guy was like oiling her up and like massaging like inside and outside of this like lingerie one-piece thing. It was really hot, and I was like, ooh, and then they fucked, but they're like both covered in oil, but you couldn't really see the dude. It was like just his cock, So I was like, oh, that's
all you
fun.
need. That's all you need is a dude's dick. I have no problem with a dude dick in there. Yeah. I like POV. I've learned that's one of the few things I know I like. I'm not the person that thinks I'm the guy. I think that's weird. I know guys who say that, like, I like to pretend. I'm like, I'm not pretending. I know I'm not there. I'm watching it. But I like a female body. I like I like the look of. I think it's sensual. It's sexual, all that. So her on the bed, I enjoy. I don't want to see her choked out or crying or like
Aw,
bad things happen.
that's nice.
Why do people? It's not. It's not. I don't think it's nice. I think that's how we're supposed to be. I don't think you're supposed to want to choke a lady.
Well, not every sexual need comes from a logical place. Like the choking someone out thing, like that has to do. Well, for me, I like it. It feels good. It feels like it's like all about power, right?
Pressure,
So,
but not.
yeah.
You don't want to be choked out.
No, you do not want to lose. I don't want to lose consciousness.
That's a trust thing. I mean, you got to know that dude.
For me, yeah, I think it's about power. It's like there's something kind of hot about having power over somebody, and there's something kind of hot about having somebody having power over someone else. So it's just like when you let your mind wander, yeah, you get to something like a choking scene or getting tied to a bed or like, I don't know, somebody getting that shit.
That's why I always jerk off to Roots because like it's power. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, my name's Kunta Kinte. Nope, it's Toby. Like that's hot.
Yeah.
It is good. I've never seen Roots actually, to be honest with you.
I think it'd be hard to jerk off to Roots.
I'm pretty sure you could jerk off to anything if you try.
That's true. That's true. There's people who are jerking off to Precious right now.
Precious.
The movie?
The big fat lady, right?
Yeah.
That ruined that name.
I didn't see it, but
that ruined me either. But that for any fat black girl right away got that name.
That's a kink.
Yeah. No, nobody wants to fuck it.
For sure, people like larger black women. For sure.
Not on purpose.
Yes, on purpose.
No, that's a default fuck.
No, maybe for you.
Yeah, for me, that would be the worst.
There's people where that's their first pick. That's what they like. Just like some guys like Asian girls, some guys like bigger girls, some guys like a girl so fucking fat they've got to go out for like Burger King 6 times a day and just keep feeding her.
See, I don't think that guy likes that. I think that guy has such low self-esteem that he wants to feel like he's the more attractive one and then that she doesn't deserve him. I think it's all about that. No one's looking at someone that looks like Bisquick in a bag and wants to fuck it. You don't. I'm sorry.
And you know that that's the case when you see on like My 600-Pound Life, like when that girl wants to start losing weight and the guy like can't handle it. Yeah. He gets all nervous, like she's gonna leave him.
Then he wants to fuck other giant
It's people. Like, you know what? Let her get to 300 pounds. You know what I mean? She's still gonna be disgustingly overweight. She just won't be bedridden.
But but that skin flap will be nuts. She'll look like a flying squirrel. Like that's weird.
Yeah.
That can be tough. Imagine being less hot when you're 300 pounds than 600 pounds. Like you've somehow owned 600 and 300. You don't feel comfortable in your own flappy skin.
Yeah, you're just like, damn it, all this loose skin. Yeah.
Then the guy finds out he likes to fuck the skin.
Plenty of people like to fuck a flap. That's a thing.
People, why do you see? I like that you know this world. There's not. What do you mean by plenty? Like 4? Like there can't be plenty of people that want to fuck.
I don't know. Thousands probably.
I knew a girl that was a stripper, and a guy paid her $500 to smell her armpit after she danced.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. That's the same kind of guy who will buy socks and panties. There's people who get off on like the aphrodisiac, like the smell, like the pheromones. Yeah. They like the, the stuff that's emitted from your body.
Why wouldn't you want to smell that on a girl? Why would you want the...
Maybe, I don't know. 'Cause you could sniff it at work in the bathroom. You can sniff it, on a car trip with your family. It's like for when you can't have a real live girl, you can have panties and socks.
It sounds like you did like an 80s infomercial. Like you could sniff it at work. You could sniff it in the car. You can sniff it with your family. It's like, new sniffy wear.
Sniff it in your work cafeteria. Sniff it in a business meeting.
And that, if you act now, Ziploc sniffies. Like you can close the scent in and like a Yankee candle that comes out.
Sniff it on your commute.
Sniffing is weird. I don't. That's the smell. I don't like smells either. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's easy to judge. I don't
judge.
You just don't understand.
I don't get it. Same thing with religion.
Yeah.
I don't get why people need them, but I understand why they need them. Like I understand beliefs because the world is scary. And if you just think about the world just ending and you being nothingness, that could make you not live your life. So you want to think of God or whatever. People with sex is like, I don't understand why I feel this way, but I better own it because if not, I'm going to shoot a school. Okay, fine. Do your thing. Have to be a human toilet, whatever I have to do. But my mind doesn't go that route. I'm like, I like sex. I think there should be a mental and emotional connection, and it makes me gay, I guess. But I like women.
How was your relationship with your parents growing up?
I mean, they got divorced when I was real young, but like.
Were they loving to you? Were they, both in your life?
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
they're both better parents for adults than they were for children, but they weren't
Mhm.
bad parents. I know my dad had more kids. We called us two litters, but he had like three kids, and there was someone else another litter. But like it was loving. We always, no matter what, and I'm saying with my kids, we always hug. We always tell each other we
Yeah.
love each other. Always did that, no matter what. My dad wasn't always around at the beginning, but was present.
Yeah.
But I never watched them fuck.
So a lot of kinks happen and are formed like kind of in childhood and during teenage years. Like oftentimes when you have a man who is like likes to be sexually like aggressive towards women or like a bit misogynistic, that always calls back to a problem with his mom growing up. If there was no trust, if there was abuse, if like she just didn't love him enough, like that 9 times out of 10 is gonna end up in a kind of like sexual aberration,
Which
right?
is weird because I never think that mom equals sex, but most people, it's just the female part. But I'm not thinking like, you think about your mom
Well,
during
yeah.
sex? But
Us as adults, like most of us, I think, are still looking as adults for what we didn't get as kids. Like I was talking to somebody who I'll probably do a podcast with, but like getting into the mind of pedophiles, which it's very fucked up. Like I would like if anyone was going to be like, this is a group of people we should take out back and shoot, I would be like, yeah, I'm kind of on board for that because it's pretty much the worst thing ever.
and they
But I
probably
think
want to be shot.
I think it's interesting to get into the mind of like what causes it, right? And a lot of times it's like it's right. It's like parents who didn't love them. They're looking for the same love they wish they had gotten from their parents. And it's something about like the attraction to the kid comes from being kind of envious of that state in their life. Like they're kind of envious of like the innocence and like where they're at. And it's almost like they're wishing they could get back to the time when they were that young. But then you mix in with that like adult sexual urges. And that's why you have something that's like very, dangerous and harmful.
Well, I think
for
pedophile
kids.
stuff is very vampire-like too, where it's like,
yeah,
if someone touches you and you get fucked as a kid, and you're like, that's your thing. Like,
now
well,
you're
then when I'm an adult,
yeah.
now I get to fuck a kid. Like that's kind of like your thing.
Yeah. And it's just, it sucks.
That's
like
the noise it makes when you fuck them. Oof.
Lots of
It's a
people
hard
are
noise.
abused by like parents, relatives, and it's like, but it's up to you whether you get help as an adult and like work that out and figure out like what's up with your patterns and why even if you're not a pedophile, most people should be in therapy, like figuring out why they're
if you learn
healthy
one thing
patterns,
today, even if you're not a pedophile, you should still see a therapist.
Yeah.
I wonder how many there really are, though.
I don't know.
Like, do
I guess most of them are in Hollywood.
Or full transgendered people.
Oh, you wonder what the overlap is?
No, I don't care about that. I don't think they're the same thing. I mean, who do you think there's really more of? Someone who actually got a sex change operation, or people that fuck kids?
Pedophiles. I think there's more.
I think so too, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Way more. Or Eskimos or pedophiles.
But it's weird because like I've never met a pedophile, but I have met trans people.
You just don't know.
Right, I guess.
That guy who has your phone number? Yeah. That guy.
Oh God. No, he's just like an addict and has never looked at himself.
They're addicts. They want to fuck kids a lot. So much.
Yeah, it's
like the Louis joke. It must be great because to take the risk, it's like just that risk. Like,
oh God, with drugs, right? Like how bad it is. It must be.
Kid fucking must be amazing.
Yikes!
Just to take that.
But it's like I do like looking into the psychology behind why people want what they want and where it comes from and like how our early life shapes us.
The only one I have from my teen years that I know is that the first girl I was really attracted to wore skirts and stockings every day. And I know that I'm attracted to people that wear stockings and wear a dress. And I know that's the first time I went, oh, a girl. And I remember that girl. I was like, and I always, so when I see someone like that, it does perk me up. But that's it. It didn't become a thing where I wanted to now wear nylon on my dick and jerk off to it, or weirdos get. That's what I'm attracted to more because I remember that girl.
Yeah, absolutely. Like one of the first crushes I had was on my diving coach, and I was like 11, 12, 13 years old, and he had like the 90s like mohawk, and then the rest of his head was shaved. He had like a puka shell necklace. He was like tall. He had tattoos. He listened to Tool, and then I really started to listen to Tool. I just thought he was the coolest dude of all time.
Sounds like a cool dude. I mean,
it's like
that's
the
what a
early
cool dude was then. That's like that really was though. You just named what a cool dude was then. I mean, that makes perfect sense.
Textbook cool. And I mean, yeah, I mean, luckily that guy did not know that I had a crush on him. He was just, he's just like a good coach. But, and then I
Yeah.
became a coach and I was like, oh shit, I bet some of these kids have crushes on me. But I was like, I'd rather just kick their ass and make them good divers. Like,
But you
I'm
just
not,
nailed that
yeah.
on the head. Thank God he was just a good dude and a coach. Because how many guys get into that and then there's you there and he's like, you're 11 or 12, but
Yeah,
they're
I'm
like,
in a bathing suit for like 3 hours a day, every day. Listen, hanging on to his every word,
right. And,
like
and he's just like, well, we're wet. It's okay if I try to touch her.
we're
Not
wet.
like even trying to fuck you. No, but he's like, we're wet. So I got to try to hold
We're
her.
wet.
And I
Let's
got to
get on
try
the
to,
bus early.
yeah, let
Yeah.
me hold your arms up. And let me like, oh, I didn't mean to grab your breath. Like there's so many of that weird shit going
Oh
on.
my
It's like,
God. For sure. And especially like when you coach the little kids, there is so much that you have to like I would be holding kids by their ankles and like just holding them up over the end of the diving board. And like
right.
there is like physically you have to throw people. It's like yeah, that's why when the shit came out with the Olympic gymnastics coach,
Yeah.
or the doctor guy or
Yeah,
whoever.
the doctor who was just
Yeah.
fingering everybody who would
Ugh.
be flexible. Yeah, that was
Ugh.
so weird.
Ugh.
What?
It sucks. It
And
sucks.
that to me, that
It's
is
so
more about
disgusting. Yeah.
power over people than I can't imagine he was just turned on by 4'11"
I'm
jack
sure he
women.
was. Yeah, you don't do that. Ugh, I don't know.
That's
There's definitely a sexual element to that because why would you finger them?
it's yeah. I mean, I think that was all about they can't say shit.
Right.
That's
It
the
is
priest.
power
That's the
too.
pedophile mentality. They can't say
How
shit.
do you
They
know what the
can't.
pedophile mentality is?
Well, I don't know what I'm sitting on right now. Young children. I have a chair full of them. That's got to be what that is, though. Is it that
It
idea
is
of
power too.
whenever an adult ever says this is our secret, run
Ugh.
away. No secrets,
No. Bad.
unless it's about hey, don't tell your sister Santa's not real. That's the only one.
Right. That's the only time it's okay to keep a secret as a kid when it involves the tooth fairy, Santa, maybe the dog dying, although you should be upfront about that.
I remember my son found out the tooth fairy wasn't real, but we knew he knew a year before, but then he lost a tooth, and he was kind of looking at us, and he goes, "Hey, can I just get the $5?"
Oh.
And I'm like, "Yeah," and he goes, "So this means," and he looked at us, goes, "No Santa then?" And I'm like, "No," but he
Oh.
kind of looked like it was like I went, "Yeah, but this is what happens," and like right away he was like, I think for him it was cool because he figured it out. It wasn't like told to him,
Oh.
and he had to like worry about losing things. And we didn't go, nope. Well, then fuck it, you don't get $5. Yeah, you still get $5.
Yeah. You're like, there's $5 already under your pillow.
Yeah, well, because
Yeah.
he was kind of saying that because where he was sleeping over the house and he lost it, and he's like, oh, so like, are you gonna wake me up? Like, I think he was tired, didn't want to get woken up by me moving the pillows. Like, can I just have the $5? Yeah, you can have the $5.
So it sounds like he had known for a little
Right.
bit.
I think we all knew before we got told all that
Yeah.
stuff. We kind of had an idea. If you just never knew and you're old, like your life can't be good now.
Yeah, the people around you are not being honest. I think if you're like, I don't know, old like 12 and you still think Santa is a thing,
What
I don't
a
know.
weird thing our culture is too. That whole Santa thing is fucked up to the point where parents get mad at the kid. You stand in line
I don't
at
get
the
it.
mall
Yeah.
and you yell at your kid to be fucking good. It's like like we're doing this for you. Like we
You
don't
have to
do it
behave
all.
for fucking Santa. To me, it's like if I had kids, I would want full credit for buying all the
Right.
cool gifts. Like, no, Santa didn't fucking go to work, and I did. I worked full time to pay these for these
Or
fucking
worse, like
gifts.
my parents were both broke, so the gifts came from Santa. And as a kid, I'm like, well, why won't mom and dad buy me something good? And I almost like had a
Yeah.
thing like, well, at least thank God for Santa. And then when you got older, you're like, oh shit. My parents they didn't really communicate when I was younger. That was the one thing. They would just drop us off, whatever. And when I was younger, this is showing how old I am. My dad on Christmas Eve gave me an A-Team board game. So the TV show A-Team, where it's like Candyland, where you put like the Mr. T or the van or the milk in the thing, and the worst game ever. Nobody wants that fucking game. It was not fun at all. The next day I go home for Christmas. I open up, my mom gets me A-Team fucking board game. And I lost it. I'm like, can you two fucking talk to each other? This is bullshit that I got this twice. They're like, you can play it at both houses. I'm like, I don't want to play it anywhere. Fuck this game.
Wow.
Nobody wants that twice. Oh, I can't
Yeah.
travel with it. Thank God.
Well, sometimes it is good to have like if it's something the kid really likes, it is good to have it at both places.
Right. I did like having 2 Christmases. That was cool.
Yeah, that's cool. How young were you when your parents split?
6.
Okay, yeah.
I was the oldest, so my brother was 4 and my sister was 2. And then years later, my dad got remarried. My stepsister, I have stepsisters and half sisters, but we grew up together, so I never even think about that. But my stepsister is she was 4 when her dad wanted nothing to do with her, so my dad adopted her, so she's my sister.
Aww.
And then my 2 half sisters, and then he got remarried just like 3 years ago for his 3rd time. And
Wow.
they have kids, but those kids are like adults, so I don't count them.
Yeah.
That's too many kids. Fuck that.
Aw.
That's too
Wow.
many.
So like they split kind of young enough for you to remember it, but maybe
not really. I mean, there's a couple memories. I don't remember them being together married, but I do remember the house I was in when they were, I guess. You know, it's like,
yeah.
but no memories of it at all. Like, I don't ever think about, listen, I was married for 10 years. I've been divorced for almost 10. I don't remember my marriage. I don't. And I think that's good. When I talk about my exes, I never mean my ex-wife. She's just the mother of my children. And I mean that in a loving way, but I never think of her as an ex because we still have this relationship.
Yeah,
now
you
it's
never
like a business thing.
broke it off. Like you're still in it with her.
And we still love our kids and make sure no matter what, even if we don't get, she's remarried now. And even if we don't get along, we have to get along. There's no choice.
She's remarried and you have this podcast and everybody's moved on.
And he looks like me, but a little fatter. So there you go.
Aw.
Is that nice? Which is not all. That's
how often do you, is one kid you have?
2.
How often do you get
18-year-old and a 15-year-old.
Oh, 18, 15. How often do you get to see them?
I mean, every weekend. But also we talk like nonstop. I mean, literally.
Oh, that's great.
5-6 times a day. I'm
Aw, they each have their own phones.
Yeah, and they're my world. They're the only humans I really like. You know what I mean? Like,
Aww.
I love comedy and my kids, and that's what's hurt me in some relationships because they come first, without a doubt, and sometimes way first. And some people don't like the fact that they're put in the back burner. But sorry, it's where you are.
How old are they when you let them have phones?
I think my son got it younger. I think they got him about the same time. So I think Ashlyn was 14 and Seamus was like 10 or 11.
Oh, okay.
So, super Irish names, Ashlyn and Seamus, spelt with the
those are great
spelling,
names.
Yeah, I had nothing to do with them, the names at all. But my ex-wife chose. She cares that she's Irish. I've never cared.
You've never cared that she's Irish.
I don't care that I'm Irish either. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have any heritage or care. My great grandparents fucked there. Great, whatever. I don't know. I don't care.
When you see a potato, you feel nothing.
Well, I have to because my name was Potatoes for like 4 fucking years. All through comedy. That was the worst. That was
right,
because
your name looks like.
And then everyone just called me that forever.
That's rough because if you say Pat Oates in a certain way, it almost sounds like pedos, you know?
No, I didn't know. Thank you. It almost sounds like pedos.
Pedos.
It almost sounds like the cool name for pedophiles, you know?
Pedos.
The awesome slang that we all call them.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Sorry to
or
break
girl.
it to you.
Whichever. See, it's more boy. Whenever I think pedophile, I think boy. Right?
Well, it's both. It's definitely both.
I don't ever.
Different symbols.
When I think girl, when someone says like young girl getting touched, I go sex trafficking. When they say boy getting touched, I go pedophile. I don't know why. I guess those are the glorified ones.
That's interesting. Yeah, I bet a lot of people make those associations.
I never think about a woman being a pedophile.
Right, until now.
But even when they do say that, I'm still like, that was rare. Like, I'm sure there's a ton of terrible women that diddle.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, because like women are our mothers and we have that like instinctual, like, oh, we have to trust these people. Not that they would, you know, it sucks that they could also put us in danger.
In porn, you want to fuck your mom now. What is that? Jessa
I wonder.
said that. She said her favorite thing to do is step parent. I'm like, why is that your favorite?
I know. I was so interested. Like, I really wonder, like, what the correlation is between the uptick in like family themed porn and like stepbrother sisters. What the correlation between that is, and does that correlate to normalization of pedophilia? That to me is fascinating, and I wonder if there's like higher powers going on there or like driving this market force a little bit.
I guess the silliest taboo. I guess that's really what it is. Like, it's gotten to that point where it's really not, if you think about it, if someone if a stepbrother fucks his stepsister, it's crazy. If a family's ruined.
Right. Are we at the point where we've just done everything? All that's left is fucking your stepbrother?
I actually know a girl, when I was running Joker's Wild years ago in New Haven, there was a girl who worked for me, and she was dating this guy, and they ended up getting married, I think, and some of that. And she was like, I'm like, how'd you guys meet? She goes, oh, we're stepbrother and sister. I'm like, what? And they would used to take baths together and shit, but like we're not blood related and we love each other. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's crazy.
Think of a new story to tell people. Don't tell people your stepbrother.
Or don't tell the guy who's going to go on stage that night and do a bit about it. Like, definitely did. How do I not do that? The girl serving you mozzarella sticks right now. Ask her about her stepbrother husband. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, it's just odd. It was odd, but like they were nice, and he had a kid from another marriage, thank God, or whatever. But like they're not together. They didn't have. But I guess it wouldn't
from a
matter.
Different relative. Yeah.
Different. But that's just an odd. I guess like if you're gonna act, I guess if you're a porn star and you want to like get out of it, and you want to act. I guess that's a fun role to play, I guess. And I guess that maybe can make it like in your mind, but I wouldn't.
Yeah. It's no different than any of the other roles. I think like the whole, like mom hitting on the friends of the son. It's no different than like, pretending to be.
I never wanted to fuck my friends' moms. Like never. I never even thought about that.
I've been attracted to friends' dads, but not to the point where I would do something about it.
I didn't think about how I wanted to fuck them. Like they were my friends, and that was their mom. Like
maybe you didn't have enough game, Pat. Maybe you just didn't.
Oh, I could have fucked some moms. How dare you? I got to run some moms all day. But no, I don't understand.
Like, cut the crusts off of this, bitch. Yeah.
But there's a guy who's jerking off to that right now.
Mm-hmm. Right now.
Bread crust.
Crust.
Loves it. Has any porn star brought up a thing where you're just like, ugh, you do that or no? Are you like open? You're listening in your mind. You don't say it out loud, but you're like, ooh.
Judge something they did on screen?
It, but just be like, ooh, like they do that. Like you're kind of like, well, that's bold, or like if someone
like naughty.
100
Maybe a naughty thing for me is like, oh wow, like she got passed around with 6 black guys, and I've never been with one black guy. So to me, that's like, ooh, that's so naughty.
That's a basketball team and a coach.
Because I've never even a little bit done that. So, but that I've judged them and like, ew.
It's the 6 people, or the fact that they're black.
Both. Actually.
I would say like even 6 of anybody. That's too much. That doesn't seem like passing. That seems like dominating. 2 or 3, they can pass you around playfully. 6 people, you're not leaving for a while, even if you want to.
Yeah, I'd rather a party scenario where people have other thing to do. If I'm the only thing to do, that's overwhelming. Yeah.
And if I'm the other guy waiting to do, like I'm leaving. I don't want to wait to do.
You don't like to
either do or don't do. I'm not waiting.
You want to be first.
Yeah, I'm not Mr. Big. I'm not waiting in line to be with you. That's not my thing. That's odd to sit there and go, I'm third. This is cool.
Right. Well, actually the human vagina is designed, and actually the penis is designed, like the head is designed that way to scoop out other men's cum. That's the shape of the penis evolved that way because the head is bigger than the shaft, because the underside is actually designed to scoop out other men's cum so that your cum has a better chance.
But how did it evolve that way? Like that means that we were doing that way. You would think it would go.
Think about back to like caveman times. Right, like they were passing around women. Yeah.
It should devolve. We shouldn't be getting better at scooping. Who's scooping now?
People are scooping, Pat.
New game show. Who's scooping now?
Who framed Roger?
There's 3 men here. Which one do you think is the best
people
scooper?
People are scooping. Some people have to scoop. That's, you know what I mean? Like, there's people in...
Hey, lady, empty your vagina. Stop making these men scoop.
It's not going to empty itself. You got to scoop it out.
When I was playing rugby in college, there was a kid in our team named Milky Mark, and he got that nickname because he went into a room and a girl was passed out, but she had just fucked a guy, and she passed out like, she was on drugs or drunk, whatever. She just went to sleep, and then it was dark, and he went in, and she thought it was the guy again, and she's like, "Oh, go down on me," and he did, and then the other guy walked in, she's like, "What the fuck?" And she laughed.
Was still in there.
Just laughed, and she just goes, you just ate that guy's cup, and he came on his face. And she laughed at him, and he became Milky Mark. Yeah.
That is so funny. Oh my God.
That's what I loved about rugby. It wasn't you didn't get like shamed. You just got a name.
Funny.
You owned the name, and he was Milky Mark. He was this nice guy. I think he's now like a businessman or something.
Milky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of funky batch in there.
I wish I was smart enough to do that to somebody. That is so funny. Like, you're gay now. You just ate this cum.
You just ate the cum. Yeah, that's a weird thing.
That is so funny.
The other one I don't get is, and then we'll leave on this, like when there's the double penetration. I don't get the guy underneath.
Well, both men, because I've talked to men who have done this, and both dudes have to be a little bit bisexual. Honestly,
Right.
they're not saying that, they're not coming
Or
right out
the
and saying
most
it, but you have
comfortable
to be
dudes of all times.
you have to be a little bit bisexual to like to be able to do that, because there's another dick. It's like right there. You know what I mean? Your balls, it's all gonna rub together. It's good to touch. It's like,
and you're looking at
if
him.
you're straight as an arrow, you're not gonna do those
You're
kind of
looking
scenes.
right at that dude, no matter what's going on.
I think you, as a man, you have to be a little bit bisexual, I think, even to be in porn, unless you're so picky about your scenes that you just will not work with another man. But it's like, yeah, they can't come out and say it, because then, oh, like, you're gay. And there is even like a kind of like a bad,
Well,
there's a judgment there.
That's gay anyway, because all he's doing is I'm in the butt. It doesn't matter whose butt it is at that point.
Like,
He's
the
just
holes are
underneath.
right next to each other.
He's in the butt. Then there's a girl on top of him. And then the other guy, yeah, he's fucking her and she's open. But, like, you could, I guess, in your mind say, oh, no other guy there, just a woman. But no matter what, that other guy's not really thrusting or moving. He's just chilling like an undercarriage.
Your legs are touching for sure. Like, you're going to be like, oh, there's another set of hairy legs here, you know?
That's why you shave your legs, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Is that what they do? And
everyone just wear heels.
I guess that would, to me, I mean, I wouldn't know. I've never been a woman, but, like, that would be too much stimulation. That's too much. That's a lot of stimulation.
To me, that seems overwhelming. I've never had a dick in my butt and in my pussy at the same time.
That's a lot.
I've had the finger in my butt while I'm having sex, and I've been like, oh, it's like. Oh,
I've had to slap that away once or twice. That's another thing I don't do. Get away from the butt. Get out of there. I don't like buttholes.
That's exactly how Frank is. He's like, get out of there.
No, I don't even like women's butthole. I don't want anything to do with buttholes. I just don't want them. I like pussy. I like tits. I don't know.
Yeah,
I like a nice smile. I like
perfectly
eyes.
Good other hole that shit has never been in that you can have fun with.
That I hope shit's never been in, but there's those videos too, like called docking or whatever. There's a whole new thing. Yeah. Chrissy, thank you so much for this education I got.
Really, thank you. Wow. I try to learn and then pass on my knowledge, but still, I feel like I have so much more to learn.
And now you're the only one allowed to call me pedos, by the way. Ever.
Pedos.
It could mean feet or pedophile. Either way, it's terrible to me. I hate both of them. Where can people see your shows, your podcasts, all that stuff?
Oh, yeah. The Chrissie Mayr podcast is on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud. I now have new episodes of that every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Mondays is Wet Spot on Compound Media at 7:30 Eastern. And then on Saturdays now is the day that I'll have like the Never Have I Ever group Zoom show, which is super fun and has like 9 people. It is a drinking game. Yeah, it's super fun.
A buddy of mine was on it, Marty Caproni. I saw he was on it.
Marty, yeah. He opens for I think Justin May Peluso.
Yeah, Justin May,
he was so funny. Those are so fun. I've been like, I'm so surprised every week at how funny and fun they are, because it's just drinking and have a good time. And it's
I watch as a sober person going, I remember fun. I remember.
I know. Sometimes I do get a little jealous. I'm like, oh man, I want to have two dicks in my mouth.
You need one person to steer the ship. They have to. You're a designated driver. You have to be that. So
that's true. I have to turn the bus around if people are, not playing nice. No, they've always been good. And that's a good mix of
James Brown of podcasting, where you're so busy you have to go somewhere else. I'll let you go.
No, I only have one other thing.
Awesome. No, but you are every moment you're on something, and that's awesome. If anyone's taken advantage of this COVID quarantine, it is you. You have done a million. It's been inspiring. I'm pushing myself to go the same way and go. You can sit on your butt or not do stuff, or take advantage of the world sitting there watching things. It's been awesome.
I realized, and I sat around doing nothing for like all of March, all of April, and then finally May. I was like, I really realized. I was like, all right, I have to do something. So,
but you did the thing that you knew. You took a chance on things, but it worked. There are people doing stupid shit, and it's just like, what are you doing? At least your thing. Worst case, you would have learned a skill or gotten better at your own job. You know what I mean?
To me, podcasting has taken the place of stand-up, and like there's nothing that replaces the feeling of like working on a sketch and like letting it loose into the world. That to me is so exciting. Just like doing a new impression or learning a new character. Those are like really such highs. But now it just feels like, podcasting.
Everybody go to Christie's, her Twitter and see the sketch, the video you did with the massage thing in Epstein.
It's on YouTube and it's on Twitter right now and Facebook and Instagram. And it's the it's basically like a found recruitment video for the Jeffrey Epstein School of Massage.
I love the grainy
and
video. It's perfect. It's really good.
Yeah.
So cool. Thank you so much,
Thank
Chrissy.
you,
Really
thank you.
appreciate it. Right.